and it was crazy. But it didn't have any evidence. I said these things may come. Well, let's go back over that article again tonight, because you need to see it. It was called Fears of a Clown. And these were some of the things that seemed crazy to Time Magazine 1 year ago. Let's decide how crazy things really are today, okay? Here I mentioned that I fear that the United States is on a long march to fascism. That's what I said. That's what they said in this article. Okay? Well, let's see. Patriot Act is now permanent. They were against that. Patriot Act now permanent. We're now discussing the rights of U.S. citizens not being read to them. I mean, you can be held indefinitely if you're suspected of crimes. That's pretty huge. The administration is telling us that we have no right to assume privacy of location. In other words, they can track you without a warrant. Our regulatory czar, Cass Sunstein, has recommended government agents infiltrate American citizen groups. Government agents infiltrate... What? I mean, that's KGB, isn't it? Any group that disagrees with the administration is now called anti-government. The FCC was told by the courts that they couldn't do net neutrality. They said, that's fine. We'll just declare the internet a public utility. We're doing it anyway. Wow. The vast majority of Americans oppose government-run health care. The government did it anyway. I mean, I could go on for 10 minutes with this stuff, but you get the idea. Is there any sign of fascism from a year ago? A year ago, the Time article called it crazy to allege that fat cats and bureaucratic bloodsuckers are plundering our future. That's a quote from the article. What a stretch that is. I mean, we're only $120 trillion in debt. We're helping now to bail out bankrupt European nations like Greece. Wait until you see what I have coming in the next 10 minutes. It'll blow your mind. It was a crazy idea, according to Time, last April, that I might believe that Mexico could collapse and chaos pour across our border. They thought it was crazy last year. Well, corruption in the Mexican government is pretty much a way of life. Drug cartels are so powerful, Mexican troops have been deployed by thousands to fight them. 2,213 drug-related deaths have been recorded so far this year. Nearly 535 police and military officers were killed last year alone. More than 11,000 people overall have died in the drug war in 2 years. The situation is so grave that the U.S. Congress appropriated $1.3 billion to fight the drug war, with another $310 million requested for 2011. This is for Mexico with the Merida Initiative. This is not for our own law enforcement agencies. No, no, this is for them. As for chaos crossing the border, well, why do you think all of a sudden Arizona is in the news? Because Phoenix is second in the world in kidnappings. Number 2, a city in the United States. Bogota, Colombia is number 1. Nearly all of them illegal aliens or drug-related, and that's why it doesn't make the news, because these people who are so passionate and care so deeply don't seem to care about the kidnappings. I don't understand that. A year ago, Time Magazine could find no evidence that America believes too little in God and too much in global warming. Made me tears of a clown. Well, here's a recent Gallup poll. Shows, in fact, we are losing our religion. Survey says since 1948, Americans who say they have no religion has increased by 500%. 1 year after lamenting my crazy stand on global warming, it has become crystal clear that scientists fudged the data, lied about the numbers, gone out of their way to exaggerate the problem, and yet tomorrow they will introduce the cap-and-trade bill in Congress. Also from Time, in the cover story they ran on me, Madman, Time alleged that I was afraid of one world government, which would turn a once proud America into another France, ruled by a one world government. Well, let's see. Speaking of France, the French president of the European Central Bank, Jean-Claude Trichet, told Forbes that global government is extremely necessary. Al Gore has also said the same thing. Leaders have spoken openly about one world currency. Barack Obama himself numerous times now calling for the global financial regulations. 1 year later, it is so commonplace to hear politicians use variations of the phrase global government that nobody's even paying attention anymore, unless you say we're headed for a global government, and then it's crazy to notice it for some reason. But my favorite line from Time that I'd like to use as evidence that what was insane a year ago is commonplace today. He used to be afraid that hypocritical Republicans in the Bush administration were killing capitalism and gutting liberty, but now all he's afraid is that the all-too-sincere leftists in the Obama administration are plotting the same thing. How do I even begin to respond to that? You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to let Bush and the Obama administration do it for me.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
We get the joke. We know that the free market is nonsense.
Right. What a difference a year makes.